Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well and are having a flare-free day. Thanks so much for coming to my channel today. Yesterday, I went to a healing cabin and it was a beautiful, wonderful experience and emotional experience. Recently for our family, and this is just being open, Nick and I have been hit over and over with like news about health or career or whatever it may be, and we are leaning on each other for that support and we're a great team. I just feel like we're both being hit nonstop with like difficult news. And so this has been happening for the past like 3 or 4 weeks, so close to a month now. And I just have been feeling a little lost and honestly like hit emotionally during it. You may not see that on social media or the videos that I've been doing recently, but I have just been feeling heavy. And like I've been feeling bottled up. My emotions I feel could like bubble up at any time, and when it comes forward I just feel like it's just too much to like, like kind of deal with all at once. And with all this different news kind of like hitting us like week after week, I just find we're not catching like our footing. And that's life. I know life happens, and that's the like up and down and ebb and flow of life that happens, that things just are outside of our control. And as an A-type person, like I've mentioned, I like having a little sense of control with my life and knowing what's going to come around the corner. And that's difficult when these kind of things come forward for our family or when chronic illnesses happen and symptoms arrive. But I came across this woman in the area that I live, and she has this place called a healing cabin. And basically it's about energy healing, feeling a little bit more grounded with yourself. It's more about finding balance and clarity and inspiration and that reconnection with yourself as a person and your soul connection. And a lot of it has to go back to like the mind-body connection or breath work. So if you meditate or you do yoga, a lot of the time with those two practices and other practices, I find that you're really focusing on your breath work. So connecting to the mind-body, what's your breath doing? And you're really just looking inwards on how your body is doing and how your body is feeling. And I found that I never really took a break for myself in the day to check in with myself, to say like, okay girl, like how are we doing? How are we feeling? What's going on mentally? What emotions are coming forward? And so when I saw this healing cabin, I was like, my soul is aching for this right now. Like my soul and my body and my like life journey is like leaning me towards this opportunity and this space to just try something new and try something different, and to really take the time for myself to connect with my body. That's been a difficult relationship with my illness, to connect with my mind that feels really heavy and like cobwebby of like so many thoughts and feelings coming over us recently. And it was just an opportunity to just try something new, get out of my comfort zone, and to reconnect with myself. I do want to highlight too that this is not a substitute for any medical care that you're currently getting. And this was a reminder for myself yesterday. It's just more of like a holistic approach to finding that energy balance and that healing process, but to continue seeing your medical doctor and practitioner or medical providers in your journey to maintain that consistency and medical advice that you need in your journey. Important medical disclaimer there, to keep seeing your doctor and to talk to them about any additional new pains and symptoms that you are having. So first and foremost, it was a beautiful log cabin in the middle of the woods. It was a bit overcast in the day, so it kind of provided like a moody vibe. And for me, if you know me, I love the rain. I find it's very like purifying and a way to just cleanse everything. And I felt, what better day to just fully cleanse my energy than a kind of overcast, drizzly kind of day in the middle of the woods in a cabin. Stephanie opened the door. She just had like this beautiful warm presence to her, and the smell of sage and like this like just like a rich healing scent, like a earthy scent was coming out of the cabin, and it set the tone for just like a calming atmosphere. So I walked into the living room and there was a beautiful view of this forest that I was looking out on. There was a couch where we talked about what the session would look like, and we talked a little bit on the couch before diving into the session, and she outlined what energy healing looks like, that it's a non-invasive like experience that she would do light hand placements on my shoulders and my temples and my head and my knees. But I'm fully clothed, and like that's a thing too. Sometimes when you get a massage, sometimes people opt to be not clothed when you get a massage, but this was totally different. There was a massage table in the room, as well as like a warm blanket and like a warming pad underneath. So when I did lay down fully clothed again, I had that nice warmth come over me with the warming blanket underneath. She started off the session with a Tibetan sound bowl, and that just allowed her to start the session of like allowing my body to recognize that we're entering into this, and I'm agreeing to like enter into this healing process. And she then like placed her hands kind of like a massaging motion on like my temples and like the top of my head, and she was behind me and she's just kind of massaging, and she's kind of in that process reading energy. And again, for myself, I didn't know much about what that looked like and what that would mean, but it was a very unique experience and I was open to it. So when it came to it, she was just, the first thing that came to her is what she said to me was that I'm holding on to a lot of like resentment energy, and that's like at the surface for me. And truth be told, I think I do hold a bit of resentment throughout chapters of my life, whether it's like resentment towards doctors that didn't believe me or other experiences of my life. There's like bits of resentment that I did hold on to, and it was interesting that that was the first thing that came forward for her, for like what she had recognized with my energy. So I was like, oh, okay, something to definitely acknowledge that that's something that I was holding on to. And the next thing she talked about was like breath work for me. I found the next part to be very interesting and eye-opening. I think myself, and potentially you watching, we like hold a lot of like suppressed emotions. I just feel like I don't address emotions like head on. Sometimes I'm like, I don't have time to think about that right now, or like I don't have time to be sad or angry or whatever it is. Like I just bottle it down and project to be like, everything's fine, hey, how are you, what's going on? And inside I'm like, I am going through so much, like there's so much weight and heaviness, and I'm like tearing up already thinking about it, because I don't allow myself to like let those emotions go. And the best analogy that she put forward in this experience was that when you have like a glass Coke bottle is like the best example, those like mini Coke bottles or Pepsi bottles, when you open the top, bubbles rush to the surface and they escape. We like lift the lid and let the bubbles release, and then we take a sip of the pop or Pepsi or soda. And it was a really neat analogy body-wise to say sometimes we like don't allow the bubbles to release. We like try and hold them down and suppress them, and it just gets like stuck energy wise in us. And she was saying that like I hold a lot of like tension in my chest, and I do, and like my shoulders and my neck area, I'm like holding a lot of like pent up stress, like anxiety. And I know this for myself, but it was just eye-opening and interesting for her to like acknowledge that, and the fact that like to really use the breath to clean house, basically like get all the bubbles that are stuck out. So when you breathe, it's like breathing through the nose. And while we're doing that, she was saying to like imagine your breath like going everywhere in your body. So like from your head, in between your ears, down your throat, into your chest, down your hands and fingers, down to your toes. Like imagine a swirl of like breath air collecting like cobwebs that are stuck or dusting out old energy. And when you breathe it out through your mouth, it's like you're breathing out all of that stuck cobwebby energy. And again, it kind of went back to like the mind, breath, body connection of you could do this during a meditation practice. You could do this at home during yoga, or just sitting or lying down in your bed of like, I'm imagining just like cleaning house and like letting the weight of everything that I've been holding go. And I think I needed that reminder in that safe place of it's okay to just breathe out loud, to like let it out. Like it's okay to just take up that space, to just like let yourself be heard. Let your energy just like take the weight away. And like that space for me yesterday was so supportive, to just be like, be loud when you breathe, be loud, take up that space, get that energy out. And so I felt that that was a unique practice for myself. Another thing that she recommended for me, which I felt to be very eye-opening, was there's motion and emotion, the term. And so alongside that was that sometimes our body needs to be like woken up by, okay, it's time to like let that old energy go, and it's okay to be letting that go, body, like let's connect to each other. And so another practice that she recognized for me that I could take part in, and you could too if you want, but with your dominant hand, you have like a fist on your like chest area, and you kind of do like a pound when you let it out. You could do this out loud too if you have more privacy or you feel more comfortable to do it in private, but you kind of like you like let it out. Again, it's like taking all that energy out. You're allowing yourself to hold that space, and you do that kind of 5 or 6 times over to just really wake up the body, to kind of like reverberate or create those vibrations to like break up energy that's being stored in like tight spots, I guess. And then when you breathe it out, you're like, like you're fully expelling it from those parts that you're holding on to. I found that to be a very fun exercise that we like took part in together, and she was taking part in it too, so that I didn't feel a little weird doing it on my own. So I felt that to be very supportive. She outlined how it can be a really positive experience to journal and to write that down. And she kind of did this through like a body scan. So again, she like started with my temples. She then went down to my shoulders of like the masculine and feminine sides of us. That the feminine is on one side of our body, and it's more of our intuition and trusting that intuition, and to let us know that the feminine energy is like there to heal us and guide us. And the masculine energy, the other side of our body, is like the protective energy, the one that wants to like really protect us from things that are happening or acting on that intuition that we're feeling on the feminine. So I found that to be very interesting, and she did a little clip here of like what that meant for me personally.
Your left side of the body represents your inner feminine. When she is in her healed state, you'll notice this because you are tapping into your intuition and being led by it. So when we're in the healed feminine, the divine feminine it's called, we're led by the intuition. And we are trusting in that. We're also surrendering to the flow of our experiences. And the trust there is in knowing that we're always being supported by the universe, which represents the masculine. Because the universe is always protecting you. It's always caring for you. Nothing is ever going to happen that's never meant to happen.
I think in general, when it came to like the energy discussion more generally, she did outline that when we hold energy or stress potentially, like we can feel that body-wise, like different aches or pains or trigger points that happen. And it's again, when we have a lot of stress in our life, we feel that tension in our shoulders or our neck or our chest or wherever it may be for us. The same as that type of energy. If we're holding on to stressful, anxious, angry, resentful energy, it can really manifest into aches and pains and like physical manifestations. We see that with flares, with endo, and I felt that to be very eye-opening, because I'm like, we do know this. We do know that stress can cause flares to come forward, but it's the way that she put it in the energy perspective of that mind-body connection of just letting it go and like doing breath work and really practicing to like reconnect with that positive energy, to like let go of the things we no longer need to hold on to like really protect ourselves and our body itself. She outlined the importance of being present and to get outside in nature a lot more. I'll put another couple of clips with the experience here.
What's on your heart? When you find yourself in that mental loop, write it down. It's almost like it's like literally unpacking the suitcase, like setting it down. You're giving it a destination rather than looping it over and over and over in the mind. And if you let yourself get into a bit of a meditative state while you do that, you can get into channeled writing, which is coming from your soul. So on the next breath, envision roots going from the base of your tailbone, down through the legs, through the feet, into the earth, through the layers of the earth, and latching those roots around the earth's core. And then breathing down from above, a stream of golden light from source. Pulling that down with the breath to reach the crown of your head. Breathing that in through the crown so it fills the head, the ears, the throat, the chest, the arms all the way down to the fingertips, the belly, the pelvic floor, the legs, all the way down to the toes with that source light. Seeing it permeate to the very core of every single cell, every single physical and non-physical aspect of you. Letting that source light collect, cleanse, and drain out through the feet any residue, any density, any energies that are no longer serving your highest good, letting those drain down through the feet to be transmuted by the earth. Letting that process continue on its own over the next few days, just drinking a lot of water in the process.
Ended the experience with basically, again, that sound Tibetan bowl of like closing out the session. Again, a little bit more sage to kind of cleanse. And we ended off with a discussion on if I had any questions for her, and she would send me some resources like an audio book to listen to, as well as some journaling prompts to help me kind of let go of things that I'm holding on to. And I left that experience truthfully feeling calmer, more seen, if that makes sense. Like I felt like it was a space that she saw me and she allowed me to be myself. It made me feel so much better. And I know I have a long way to go with like reconnecting with myself and my body, but I found that experience to be really amazing and really supportive of what I need right now. And again, it might seem a bit unique, and I recognize that too, that it was a unique experience, but it was something that my body was craving and something that I recognize that has really impacted me one day. So we'll see how long it lasts, but I feel very impacted by it in a positive way of like, yes, there has been negative things that I've been like taking hold of our family at times, but that I have some sort of control over it, and the control being my breath and how I respond to things and how I can let go of energy that is not serving me or really making me feel like worse and not in a positive mindset. And I think I needed that. I'm being honest, I think I really needed it. I'm really, again, curious to hear if you've ever done something similar. I think moving forward from this experience, obviously I'm going to continue seeing my medical provider, my doctor, eating healthy, trying to move my body as best as I can, but be easy on myself and to get out of my headspace of being locked in this zone of woe is us, like we're getting hit by all of this, it's all negative. Like there are positives around us that I just need to like tune into and to reconnect with my body. And that's something that I've been like craving forever with my chronic illness of like, we have had like an up and down, and we being me, of like my mind, body, soul connection of like, it's been a pretty tricky process over the course of time of like feeling connected to myself. And I just found that the exercises that she provided me about journaling and the breath work, I think are like starting points for myself to really rebuild that relationship with myself and my body. And yeah, it was a good experience, and I just thought I'd share because again, it's something unique for me, and I'm sure it's unique for you listening, but it's something that I'm glad I took part in for myself. I took time out of the day to like take care of my body and my energy and to like feel a sense of peace again in this kind of tidal wave of things that are happening. And so I'm creating myself a little safe space island that I can like stand on to see what's coming and to feel more ready and fluid about reacting to things and being more fluid about things and not holding on to like, oh my gosh, this is outside of my control, I feel anxious. It's like, there are things that are going to be outside of our control. What I can control is my breath and how I react to things. So that's what I'm going to lean into these next couple of weeks, months, years. And again, it's a practice. It's not going to be perfect, but I'm going to try my best to like put everything I learned yesterday into practice and to really be easy on myself and to not hold energy that I no longer need with my body. I hope this has been interesting. I'd be curious to hear down below if you've had a similar experience or your thoughts on this. If you do meditation or yoga as a side to help with that breath work that you've done, anything. I'd love to hear it down below in the comments. And yeah, with that, I cannot wait to talk to you on the next one.